Hello, once again, Star Wars unboxing fans. Welcome to another episode of Darth Tuba's Star Wars unboxing show. I'm your host, Darth Tuba. That can't find there it is. Couldn't find my cutter. I am so excited, totally, fully vested in the lot auction thing. For anybody who doesn't know what that is when you go to auction houses virtually. Usually they're online, and you purchase a lot of items, okay? And it's funny because I think that's where that term came from. I said it on the other video. I said, when you say, hey, I got a lot of toys this weekend, or I got a lot of this weekend, or I went to a lot of places, it means, I think it's vernacular originally taken from auctions. When you bid on a lot, as in a space that has many items in it. And that's exactly what I did. I built, except virtually, there was a lot, an auction that included many items. And this was for a bunch of different Star Wars related items. One of the ones that I've been really having fun with is Van Eaton. Okay, there's a couple. There's Heritage Auctions. There's Van Eaton. I've come across another one, B&D. I've come across another one, Morphe. Some of them, you have to kind of keep your eyes and ears peeled. And my purposes for this is to, again, do a couple of things. And I've said this on a previous episode. This channel is kind of evolving into, it's still an unboxing channel. It is still a collecting Star Wars positivity channel. But I have kind of shifted gears a little bit after the success of the sale I just had. Not just in terms of, making a lot of income from the sale of parts of my collection, but also in terms of, opening up our community to more people that I'm now starting to meet on an in-person basis and have communicated with via Facebook messengers and things like that. But also just in a sense of, there's a lot of people out there who are very much interested in, picking up a collection of Star Wars. A lot of people, it's vintage, but there are some that still, got to remember, vintage is a challenging word, right? There are those that might look at the 90s as being vintage, even though the 90s stuff is not worth monetarily anything close to what the 70s and 80s, because the 70s and 80s wasn't made in great supply versus the 90s, which was made in huge numbers. So it's not that hard to find. Although I will say that I've discovered that some of the stuff in the 2000s and the 2010s do fetch a pretty high price, even for loose items. So it's kind of, it all comes down to this. Something is worth what you are willing to pay for it, right? Now, I'm not here to make a huge amount of money. I've said that before. All I'm here to do is essentially try and thin out my collection so I can make room for other parts of my collection. I'm more focused on 70s and 80s vintage, and not just toys, but other kind of random items like school supplies and party goods and things of that nature. If I feel like it's an interesting item that I can put in a display and showcase it, and if I can later, or either I or my family could later sell it off and, make the money back, or at least a little bit back, then that's what I want to have in the collection. So that's what we have here. I have done so many auctions over the last few weeks. Full disclosure, you're probably watching this in late August, early September. And I am filming this in mid-August, early to mid-August, and I actually made this auction win in probably late July. So things get kind of out of whack. So, and when it comes to auctions like this, if it's on eBay, I can look on my eBay, purchases and see what's coming, where it's coming from, all that. Here, it's all emails, and the emails can kind of get lost. So it's kind of everybody's treat, yours and mine, to see what we have here. And again, some of this is going into the sale bin for next year. I'm going to either put it straight in as is, or sometimes I'm, if it's a piecemeal vehicle or playset, I maybe look for parts, depending on how much people are asking for the parts. I know some parts are really, really hard. I'm trying not to do reproduction, and if I do that, I will clearly list it, put it in a separate bag or box and say with reproduction items, because I don't want to fool anybody, and you can't anyway, because a savvy collector will know. So I'm not trying to pull the ears off of, or pull the wool over anybody's eyes. I do want to thank. I'm putting out a lot of shout outs. This is not a Star Wars Daddy auction, but I do want to put a shout out to Star Wars Daddy. Check out his channel. I gain nothing from that. I just, I'm very impressed with what he does, and he mentions me on his channel all the time, so I'm just doing the same. But if you want to learn about how to spot reproductions versus original accessories and other items, He is the best place to go. He's putting out a lot of great content about that. So, all right. So we're opening up this box and more packing peanuts. Yay. But I did do something different today. I put them from the bottom in hopes that I could maybe get a few things set up here. All right. I'm going to just, you know what? Let's push this a little towards you and see what we have here. Okay. Got a couple of items here. Oh, I like that they put this on a backboard here. We've got stickers, puffy stickers. Yes. These, I got a whole stack of these at an auction, and believe it or not, the person somebody came in and bought them all for a lot of money. And I don't want to sell all of it. I want to keep some of it in the collection. So these are probably going to stay in the collection. There's two types, right? We got, looks like the good guys and the bad guys, and this looks like Empire Strikes Back, mostly, right? Got some Star Wars characters in there. These are those kind of puffy, they have a little bit of puffiness to them, so that's cool. And I'm gonna save this for if I have a magazine or something I want to sell off. I'm gonna put that in there. That's cool. All right, this one. I think I know what these are. I've been on a school supply kick. I don't know why. It's maybe my teacher. You got to understand, when you go to school, when you go to college to become a teacher, right? Well, think about it. If you go become a public school teacher, here's what happens. You go to school, first kindergarten through 12th grade, right? Then you go to college, generally for 4 years. Some people go for another 2 or 3 to get their master's or their doctorate. And then you go out into a school district, hopefully get a job, and then you start working. Well, for teachers, we never stopped being in that school mode. It's the same. If you're a kid watching this, it's the same for us teachers. I know some of my students watch. We get excited when the school year draws to an end. We get excited for the summer. We get excited for the breaks. We get a little tinge of sadness when the breaks are over. I guess for teachers, it can become even more of a anxiety, because it's like, what new fandangled policies are we going to have to learn and follow? So it's a big deal. So anyway, we get that way. So I'm kind of into the school supply business, and we have a couple of really cool folders. Oh, these came from Toys R Us. This is just like B-Wing and TIE Interceptor, right? And it's just a work folder. You can put your schedule on there. I just loved these. I was really into this when they first came out. So these will stay in the collection. I think there's a second one in here. Yeah. Nope. There's a couple here. Okay. We got Jabba the Hutt, and Salacious Crumb. The same on both sides. My favorite, Max Rebo. These are in really good condition. Copyright 1983, right? Stuart Hall Company is where these come from. I remember all of these. Got the speeder bikes, and you got 3PO, R2, and Wicket. Yeah, these are going to stay in the collection. So sorry, no gives backs. Also came with a nice little backing that I'll use for maybe if I decide to part with some of my magazines or books. All right, what else we got? Okay, this one I'm so excited. A lot of this is personal collection stuff. Again, I used some of the money from the sale to. I might actually leave this in here when I'm done. I used some of the money for the sale to kind of build up a collection of stuff to put out in the sale for next year. But this one, this is the Star Tours Disneyland press kit. This is what was given out to the media back in the day, folks, when media consisted of newspapers, magazines, TV. Okay, that was it. There was no internet. So Disneyland opened Star Tours first, and I believe it was 1987, and they gave out these little press kits. And it includes, I'll just kind of show you. I'm not going to go through every single thing with a fine-tooth comb, but we got like a little letter, all right, typed up about the whole program, and it's all the press information. It's got really cool. The backing of the letter has the Star Tours logo. It's like a 5-page typed letter. That's cool. And then just some information more about it. Just press items, okay? Disneyland to enter a new entertainment area with unveiling of Star Tours on January 9th. These are just all like press release things. This is how they used to do it, folks. No email. It's all just press. Typed up press release. Crazy, right? And then, but here's the real kicker, okay? You get some photos. We got the George Lucas, the rare unbearded George Lucas, and it explains on the back what the photo is. You got the inside of the ride with C-3PO and the Starspeeder 3000 before they updated it. Space astronaut Mickey with R2 and 3PO. Think about this. This is a good 25 years prior to Disney purchasing Lucasfilm. I mean, this is from if you are a Star Wars enthusiast, a Disney enthusiast, a Star Wars Disney enthusiast like myself, or even someone who just like is into history, like company and corporate history, which there are many people like that. This is like a huge moment right here. This whole thing is a huge moment. And then this really cool, just the I guess I don't know. It's just a it almost looks like something you make on a Cricut cut, but that is just really great stuff. So, and it comes in this really cool folder. This was not cheap. This is definitely going back in the container, and we'll find a place. This has to. Unfortunately, the only thing I don't like about collecting ephemera, or these are things that people don't even normally keep. That's what makes them more, worth a lot more, because people sometimes this is just a press kit. People probably took this information, took what they wanted from it, and tossed it in their wastebasket. So for me, that kind of stuff is so cool, especially when it's Star Wars and Disney, especially when it's Star Wars Disney prior to the Disney acquisition in 2012. Because to me, they were partners for a long time. And I've said this before on this channel. I hold Disney responsible. A lot of people get upset about the Disney acquisition of Star Wars, and you're entitled to your opinion, of course. If you're not happy with the stories they're telling or any of that nature, I get it. You're entitled to your opinion, of course. But me, I have always had a great respect for the Disney company. They're not perfect. They're a corporate entity like any other corporate entity. They make bad decisions. I'm looking at you, closing of the Halcyon, whoever made that decision. All right. But they make a lot of choices that are, of course, entertainment-based, but also business-based. And I get that. But at a time when no one was talking Star Wars, and many people who watched this channel weren't even alive. I'm talking 1986, 1987, 1988, 89, and 90. Those 5 years especially. There were even more years after that. But those 5 years, the only place that there were any Star Wars going on after the Saturday morning Droids and Ewoks cartoons were done was in Disneyland. Not even the Disney parks in general, just Disneyland, California, Anaheim. That was it. They held the torch for 5 years before then Hollywood Studios opened, and then it started spreading out again. But that's just something I've always felt was really, really awesome. Okay. Again, we're talking, a lot of these are going to probably find themselves in the personal collection. Ooh. These are actually Empire Strikes Back space trunk. This is just a tin bank. Got some great stock imagery, right? Got a little lid at the top. You put stuff in it. Okay. I love these because not only are they really cool, conversation piece collectibles, but also for my little tiny things, I have like little ephemera, things that I don't want to get rid of, but I'm not going to display. I can put them in here, maybe coins, maybe things of that nature. So that's really, really cool. But that wasn't the only one. There was another one. This one, it might be this one's actually a bank. I have to look and see. 0. It's like a 2-dial bank. I don't know how to open it. So, and the thing is, I have to look up I have to look and see if there's any paperwork in here about it. I know they said it on the auction itself. I might have to email them back. Not that I really care. It's just cool. Thanks. Got Yoda. It's got these are all stock Empire Strikes Back images. I have a lot of Return of the Jedi tins. I don't remember them coming out with two, and there's some Star Wars tins too. I just don't remember them coming out with Empire Strikes Back and Star Wars as much. So this is all just helpful. All right, what else we got? Oh, lots of cool goodness here. Okay. I think I am at the point now where I've totally blown through all the money that was made at the sale between paying off some credit cards and all the other stuff. I think I'm pretty much done, but that's not to say that I'm not going to keep doing it. It's just I'm going to do less of it. Actually, these will probably go in the sale because I bought these in another location as well. So I have a lot of these, and now I think I can part with some of them. So we have the collectible erasers. Again, if you've been watching the channel, I actually have this R2 and Yoda. and Wicket and Royal Guard. I just want to see. I want to have a series. I have them all loose, so I might keep one or two. I think I've only kept one. I had Max Rebo. I kept him, so these will probably go right into the set. All right. Ooh, we got more school supplies. All right, this is good. I like my box right here. You can make it a surprise. See, these auction houses, generally speaking, do an amazing job of packing. Although I will say there was one video, if you watched on a previous, check them out. They kind of wrapped a vintage figure with all this other stuff. All right, you got the Return of the Jedi. Remember these? Remember the little pouch, little school kit? Came with an eraser and a ruler and a pencil sharpener, and it has the cool Vader versus Luke, just a little zipper pouch. I love these. This is not going out. This is staying in the collection. However, I do have some pencil sets. Some of these might go in. We've got, looks like we have Return of the Jedi with some of the characters, a 4-pack. I'll have to look. We have a droid one with 3PO, and then we have a red one with Vader. I have to look and see. I may have some of these, so I'll have to double check on those. And and then Pop a Point colored pencils. Let's take a look at these. Oh yeah, we have the color. Oh, pop. Oh, I see. Okay, so these are like kind of colored pencils and some pens. Yeah, I don't think I have any of these, so these will all stay in the collection. I'll go and double check on some of this, but. All right, still moving along, folks. Still moving right along. We got a few other items here. This was a big school supply item, and I'm so glad I was able to acquire it right before school starts. For some of you in the country, school's already started. In which case, I hope you're having a good start to the school year. For me, oh wait, no, I'm sorry. This is not school supply. This is something else. Soaps. I can't believe how much people try to will spend on Star Wars soap. There's a Vader soap. Still smells like soap. There's a Luke X-Wing soap. And here's a 4-pack with, looks like Lando, Vader, R2, and 3PO. 4-pack soap. I am not going to be using these. These will only go in display. Yeah, I might need to look into some new displaying. If anybody has any suggestions. If you've watched my channel, let me put it this way. I put zero budget into display. I grabbed the cheapest shelves I can find. I put them up. But in some cases, I was able to acquire, like, say, a display case, like a tall one. And when I put stuff in there, oh, a happy little coincidence, or if you want to call it a coincidence, nothing collects dust. It's great. So now I'm thinking anything that's on just an open shelf, that starts collecting dust, and sometimes that dust gets dug in there, and it's really hard to keep clean. So now I'm thinking I might want to slowly start transitioning into as many display case items as possible, but I do not want to spend oodles of money. So, plus it's in a basement, and I need to keep it like at least 6 to 8 inches off the ground in case it's flooding. So I have to take into account the weight and all that other stuff. So if you know anybody, leave a comment. If you know any places, if you purchase some shelving, oops, sorry if my mic is flittering. If you purchase some shelving or some case, like covered glass casing that lights up, might as well, because I gotta figure out how to light it. Let me know. All right, we're still going here, man. Lots more here. This now, mind you, this wasn't all one lot. As I said, there were a few. The school items were all one lot. I think the soap was one lot, but there may be others. Oh, I think the tins might have been one lot. It looks like this is a different lot. And these are Star Wars. No, Empire Strikes Back. Yeah, Darth Vader. I had a bunch of these and I sold them off, but I'm kind of regretting it. And then these like little pill box, like a little tiny Yoda one. It's kind of cool. Oop, gotta make sure it shuts. And then there's a lot of these like kind of pencil case size, chewy. Yeah, I sold a bunch of these off, and I'm like, you know what? I kind of like these. Again, these are all Empire Strikes Back. I'm pretty sure they are the same company that put out those two bigger ones. And we got 3PO and R2. And we got the wise Jedi Yoda. All right, cool. Yeah, those are question mark. Not sure if I'm putting them out or not. Okay. This is not a Star Wars thing. Full disclosure. But since it was part of the auction, I will share it out with you anyway. This, hang on. Wait for it. Okay, this is, I remember, this is just a childhood. Oh, lost one of my markers. It's okay. This is a childhood Viewmaster set. Okay, and this is how they used to come when you would get like a set of them. So you open it up. Be a little gentle here, and it comes with you got your. Be very careful with this. Ooh, I don't. It comes with your you know, your little Viewmaster set, and then it comes with these cool little discs that come with a bunch of different ones. And this one came with, let's see, who do we have here? We have some cartoons. We've got Hardy Boys, or that's not a cartoon. We've got Woody Woodpecker. We got Superman. Not sure if that's, yeah, the Super Friend Superman, or the cartoon Superman. Bullwinkle. Bugs Bunny. You want Tuck Doc. Peanuts. And Casper, which is nice. But I'm not a big collector of that. But the other disc includes the following. Walt Disney characters. You see Liberty Square in Walt Disney World. Haunted Mansion in Walt Disney World. Main Street USA, Walt Disney World. Fantasyland, Frontierland, and Adventureland. So this is like a Disney World Viewmaster Walt Disney World, Florida thing. That's basically what I got it for. But it came with all of the other nifty stuff. So I am going to kind of try to get it back in the container. I don't know if that was part of it or whatever, but I like it. So there it is. Your Viewmaster thing. Again, not Star Wars. I know. Sorry, not sorry. All right. Still got more. Back to Star Wars. I think that was the only non-Star Wars thing. We got another Return of the Jedi mug. I have to check to see if I have this one. Some of these, I've been slowly building up a collection of these, and I want to get them back. Anything that's double will find its way into this. Okay. This one, I was surprised this one didn't go for more. Okay. This looks like a flashlight, right? It is not just a flashlight. What this is essentially, it might be the flashlight, but I have to, yeah, it says on the side. That's what it is. This is the original way that they released a lightsaber. It was essentially a flashlight. It is missing one key component, and that is an yellow tube. It was like one of those inflatable tubes, like an inflatable material. I guess you blew it up and then stuck it on the end here, and then when you turn on a flashlight with batteries in it, it would shine. I do not know if this baby works. It needs D batteries. I do not own any D batteries. D batteries are something that they're basically going extinct. So I'm actually going to purchase a couple of D batteries for no other reason than to test it. It's only the flashlight, so it didn't go for as much money, but I'm okay with that because this is a vintage item. It's going in the case. It's going in the case. I'm excited. If I can find a box for this, that would be like even more amazing. I don't need the yellow tube. They almost always broke. I don't need that. So we will see what we got here. All right, so that is really, really cool. All right, we're getting down to the bottom here. I do have my, all my certificate of authenticity press kit. Wow, that's cool. That's nice. They included like every single item that's in here has a little certificate of authenticity. I like that. That's new. This was part of a Disney and Droids auction. That's why, hence the Disney other little thing. There was a lot of Disney stuff. I didn't really purchase a lot of that. So this was an expensive thing, but not too bad. A lot of the items, like the stickers, weren't very expensive. You know what I mean? You know, and some items were like $16, $30, $20. The most expensive thing was the press tour kit. So this I will save as part of the collection because I like those. All right, what else we got? We got a bowl that goes with that mug. I remember I had a lot of Empire Strikes Back versions of this. So it's a 3-sided thing. We got the band, we got Jabba, and we got Luke and Yoda. So very cool. Running out of space here, but let's keep going. think we're back now. Again, these are all. Some of these were shared with other items. Now, you got to be careful when you're doing auction items. Oh, these are cool. Comb and keeper. These are combs. Look at this. That's a comb. You have to like take it out of a package, and oh my goodness. Of course, Max Rebo band. They came up with a lot of stuff in Jedi years. $1.95 when you originally bought it, but still cool. Look at this one. The land speeder. I don't know if you were considered cool if you pulled this thing out to comb your hair, but I think it's cool. And, all right, we are getting down to the wire here. And by the way, I don't believe we're looking at any. There is possibly one item in this that. Let me look again. Let's see. Yeah, there's a lot of school supplies collection. I'm not seeing. Yeah, I don't know if there was one item I thought I got as part of this, but I think it came as part of the certificate of authenticity. So it's what I feel is the grail item in this collection. I mean, like what I think is really good, although you may not agree. But don't knock anything else over. All right, we have some eraser pencil things. We got an eraser 3-pack, some pencil and a pencil point. Oh, it's like an electric pencil with the pencil point rechargers, and pencil and eraser. These are all cool stuff. What the heck is this? Oh, okay. This is just a Disney item. This is the other Disney item I got. It's called Disney's Magic Music Days. Anybody who knows? Okay, to my students who watch. All right, this is stepping out of Darth Tuba and into Mr. Megalio mode here. This is what the original, if anybody went on our Disneyland trip this year, it's called Disney Imagination Campus. It has gone through many names. This was, I believe, the very first kind of iteration of Disney inviting bands to perform and orchestras to perform. And it was called Disney Magic Music Days. So I really enjoyed this. And when this sticker was part of it, it was not a very expensive item to get. Because not too many people really connect with it, but I do because I've taken our bands and orchestras and and choirs on multiple trips. So I wanted to have that as part of my Disneyana collection, which is not a very huge collection, but it's some things. All right. Next up, another round of deckware, I think it's called. Okay, I've got a few more items. I have to look on my collection again. Any of this that I have doubles of, you can be sure this will find its way in the auction. The mug, another mug with Vader and the guards, along with, again, another Luke and Yoda. I love the artwork on these, and I just do. I just think it's cool. It's different. Sometimes the artwork is stock art that came from Lucasfilm, and sometimes it's art that came from the people that made the items. There's a Han and Chewie. There's Leia with Lando in the skiff outfit. Really cool little tumbler there. All right, how we doing? Oh, one more mug. We're getting down to the bottom here. Almost done. Video's running a little long, so I want to wrap it up. Okay. Got the mug, another Luke and... Oh, this might be a double. Is this a double? I think it's a double. Okay. This will go in the sale. All right. And is that it? Nope, that's not it. Okay. Let me just make sure. I love doing it this way because all those packing peanuts... What packing peanuts? This is all going to go back in the box. Because I'm going to close the box in a second. My wife keeps saying, maybe you should keep some of these in case you want to mail, if you do any sales or if you need to pack stuff. And my wife is always right, and she is always right. So I'm going to do that. But last thing I'm going to do today. All right. Last item. What I feel is the coolest item in here. Now, I don't know how much you may agree. I don't know. I've mentioned it a few times on this channel. There have been a few times where I said, I'm surprised that more people aren't into this, Let me just do one thing here, guys. I'm going to close the box like that way. Good. Okay. We got a Ziploc bag. Now, maybe some of you know, just from hearing that, what we are dealing with. Move this even closer. We are dealing with a whole series of micro figures. These are from the micro collection. We got the Wampa. These look like a lot of Hoth figures. These are 1-inch metallic figures. We got the hanging. This is actually meant for the Wampa playset, and Luke hangs. Yeah, these are all pretty much part of the Hoth set. Now, I've been in the process of trying to purchase some of these because I've purchased a few loose sets that have had no figures. So these are all in really great condition. Okay, very little scuff wear or any of them. There's a few bunch of these. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with these. They're probably going to go into the sale, but they're going to go into the sale via. They're going to go into the sale via playsets. I'm going to try to find loose playsets. Even if I can't complete the playsets, if I can put the figures in with them, that will increase the value of them. These were not overly expensive. I'm just trying to find. Yeah, they were not. They were a very reasonable price for all of them. So I have no problem. I'll first try to find them inside of the the different setups. I will try to find a space for them inside playsets. If I can't find that, no problem. I will sell them loose. So somewhere, one way or another, they will end up in the collection. So, wow, that was huge. That was a huge amount of stuff. Now, it surprisingly not a huge amount of money considering what I received. And I will say, full disclosure, I would say 90% of this is going to stay in the collection, at least for now. So there are some individual school supply items that I have doubles of that I will most likely put out into a sale, which I'll figure out as soon as this video is done recording. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. Again, this was Van Eaton Auctions. You can check out Van Eaton. They're a very popular auction house. They do a lot of stuff that's way beyond my price range. Sometimes they'll do like original artwork, whether it's Disney artwork or other artwork. It's crazy. But they also do some very reasonable stuff from time to time. So check out their site. Check out their upcoming auctions. I will continue to do so. See what they have. I love that this was a Disney and Droids. And that's like right up my alley. Disney, Star Wars, boom. So awesome. I don't know if we'll come across that again. That's one of the reasons why I took advantage. Because it's like, when are they going to do that specific of a thing? It just depends on what comes into their consignment office to do as an auction. So it's also places that I'm considering if I ever want to do an auction, which is something I have thought about. I have thought about doing a consignment auction and seeing how they do. The auction houses, they all get a cut. Sometimes it's a pretty sizable cut. Sometimes they come in and do a lot of the work. Sometimes you have to do most of the work. So I'm just kind of nothing coming up right away, but I'm just kind of looking and seeing. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Check me out on Instagram and Bluesky. All my content is on YouTube. You can also check out Darth Tuba's unboxing page on Facebook. I've been also joining a bunch of other groups. You might see me in there, a bunch of collector groups. We will continue to drop videos. Usually it's on Sundays and Wednesdays, but I might be adding a few more just to kind of get. I mean, I'm way ahead. I've gotten so many videos ahead of time that I'm looking into maybe starting to drop a few early, at least temporarily, because I am off in the summer, so I have more time. Once school starts again for me, and I got all my school supplies ready. Once school starts for me, it takes a lot more time to get stuff done. So I might revert back to the Sundays and Wednesdays. Okay, folks, that'll be it. Until next time, may the Force and the toys be with you.